And in this corner, battling
So
COVID
enigmatic and charismatic. Gotta live
from
static.
Columbus,
Gotta get at
Ohio,
it. Never pragmatic, 'cause we live
Joe
static. I can't live average to be a life's magic. Turn it up in the back 'cause I'm grabbing everything I want, get in my way and I'm stabbing. I'll be moving crowds till I'm 6 feet napping. They need
Thank you,
another
everybody,
fix
for
hooked
being
on like
here.
an
That
addict.
is
I got my
correct.
eyes on the prize and it's changing lives. I wanna live till I die, make a difference,
COVID.
right? I wanna give those in need a reason to fight. I wanna live every day like it's my last night. I wanna change how we play the game.
How about we start a
Rearrange all the pieces till they say my name. Push an agenda
revolution
against
of
doing what
your
they say.
mind.
I wanna stand up and start a revolution. I wanna start a revolution.
Come to the right place.
I wanna
Welcome
start a
to Truth Talk.
revolution. I wanna start a revolution. I wanna start a revolution. I don't break down, you can never break me. I won't stay down.
What is up, everybody? Let's get
Now I'll be
right
kissing
into it.
babies, call me out president, boss tool, hate me. I'ma trust my
You're fired, Mr. Sound Guy. Jesus. No, we're going to keep rolling. I don't feel great, so we're going to try to get this in one take. What is up, everyone? I am Joe Truth. Welcome to Truth Talk on a sickly edition of Truth Talk. So let's just start. This is probably going to be the most important podcast we ever do. You know, I was thinking about it, like, I've went 5 days without doing a podcast. I've been sick for 5 days, people. 5 days. And I'm not talking just kind of sick. I'm talking falling asleep at the will sick. I fell out of the shower 2 nights ago. No lie. The lethargy was so crazy. I couldn't even hold my eyes open. And down I went like Buster Douglas. And I was out for the count, buddy. So it got me thinking today because I was like, I got to make a podcast. I got to. I read some of the comments, you know, people saying on your TikTok videos, you keep saying the same thing. Well, duh. It's a bridge. It's a bridge to get you here to the podcast. It's a bridge. But I thought I would come out and I would talk about the biggest threat to mankind with everything that's going on in my life right now. This is a perfect time, a great segue to talk about the biggest threat to mankind right now. And it's not COVID. I know your mind was going there. I get it. I understand, and hopefully my sniffling and my shitty voice do not deter you. Misinformation is the single biggest threat to mankind right now. Misinformation, and it's coming from all sides. And we're going to cover just a few of the many issues out there. That there's so much information put for you to digest, but none of it is correct. It creates division. And divided we will fall, and I say it all the time. Information is power. But if you're misinformed, that is irresponsible. That is a different kind of power. That is a destructive power that will take us all down. Mark my words. Mark my words. Today, January 7th, 2022. Misinformation will be our undoing. It will destroy everything that we have built. And there's so much of it out there. So let's just dive into COVID, since it's relevant right now. I do have Omnicron. I have been extremely sick. I want to start by saying I am not one who has ever doubted the authenticity of COVID SARS-2. I've never once doubted it. Now, the information surrounding it, it seems to be shrouded in mystery, right? We couldn't get a real origin. You had two ways of thinking. It was a natural evolution, or it was released from a lab in Wuhan. But you never got a for sure on it. So we're going to discuss both of those. Let's just say that it's a natural evolution. How come it seems so modified? How come it doesn't work like a standard virus? Where are all my standard... sorry. You're going to have to bear with me. My mind is not as sharp as it normally is. Where are all my scientists at who can tell me why it doesn't behave like a standard virus? So, my opinion, and that's why you guys come here, for the truth and the way I present the truth, my personal opinion is that it was a weapon. Maybe not when it was released, but I think that scientists are trying to weaponize everything. I mean, think about it. Let's talk hypotheticals. Hypothetically, we get visited from another species, from another world, and they leave us something extraordinary. They could change the game. Would your government ever let it see the light of day? Or would they use it for self-preservation, to benefit self? I mean, you already know the answer to that. It's human nature to be selfish. So I think it was designed to push the envelope, and it was released. Now, there's a lot of information supporting that. Mainstream media has even reported. So we're going to go with that being a plausible scenario. Okay? How come no one's been held accountable up to this point? In the United States alone, there's 800,000 people that have died from COVID. 800,000 people. Globally, 5.5 million people have perished based on the numbers. I tend to think that the numbers are inflated. I was tested not with the rapid test and diagnosed well before my test came back. It happened to come back positive. But I was diagnosed right there by the doctor. I'm going to test you, and I'm not going to do the rapid test. I want to ensure that either you do or you don't, but I tend to think you do, so I'm diagnosing you with COVID SARS-2. Omnicron. So if that is the case, what if my test came back negative? It would still show up as a positive test, right? I've been diagnosed. diagnosed. You have COVID. From my understanding, they have to report that information. And I level up on the CDC and their numbers. But let's talk about the real misinformation. There are people out there that still believe, unequivocally, that this does not exist. That COVID SARS-2 does not exist. And that this is all one big hoax, one big ruse. I had so many of the Truth Squad, so many get sick. These are people that would go to war saying that this does not exist. Blue Eyes, where are you at? You're the one that comes to mind the most. You were such a proponent of COVID SARS-2. And the reason I'm saying that is I don't want to shroud this in the vid talk because they'll ban it. So, COVID SARS-2. Nope, it's not real, Joe. Can't convince me otherwise. And then you got sick and you had to be hospitalized. And you were seconds away from being ventilated, which that's typically where this goes south for so many. You changed your mind really quick. And that's what I'm saying. Unless you felt this personally, whether it be self or someone close to you, it's easy to dismiss. It's easy to get wrapped up in the misinformation campaign on both sides because there's no bias here. Both sides are culpable. Both sides are responsible. Both sides are spreading lies. Dangerous lies. So let's talk about the vaccine. Since that is the remedy, that is the preventative, that is the way we combat this, let's talk about it. Because I myself personally have seen the insert to the vaccine that says intentionally left blank. I've seen it for myself. Now, I got to be honest with you. I've taken medications over my lifetime. There is a pamphlet in there with a bunch of gibberish that I have no idea what it's about. But it has always come with this information. So tell me why this vaccine does not. Now, do I think it's some bioweapon? I mean, it doesn't help that there's no information with it. But no, I think it's a very big experiment. Very big. The bigliest of all time. And it has been shrouded in so much misinformation and controversy. Like all vaccines, if you're not a vaxxer, then you're not okay with it. I just happen to not be a vaxxer. I think vaccines are responsible for a lot of autism. That's my personal belief. I think vaccines aren't the best choice in every situation, and I think over the years, the evidence continues to mount. But when we're talking about this specific vaccine, there's a lack of information. There's a lack of data for us to draw an educated conclusion on. And the fact that it needs to be pumped into everyone's arm on the planet seems to be odd to me. But again, do I think it's some bioweapon that will be started with 5G? No, I don't think that. I do, however, think it is a very big experiment, the biggest of all time. And I think that eventually, one day soon, you will be presented a choice. And if you decide to unvax, then you decide to uncommunitize yourself from the community. I do believe that is coming. It is proven to me every single day, which does validate some of the crazy conspiracies out there, because you're trying to figure out why this is so damn important. You know, why is this so damn important? Well, Joe, you just said 800,000 deaths in America. 5.5 million deaths globally. That's why, Joe. Okay. Look at the numbers for the flu. Now, they tried to make you take it, but it's a choice. I have had one flu vaccine in my entire life, and that was because I didn't have a choice. That's a whole nother story. Doesn't matter. We don't need to talk about it. But I didn't have a choice. But all the other years, the 42 other years of my life, I had a choice to take it or not. The misinformation surrounding all of this, as we just shot you straight, we're just conversing, you and I. You're listening, I'm talking. I didn't throw any nanobots in there, no 5G, none of that. Just shooting you straight. It's the misinformation that has people angry on both sides. When you have teachers shoving this down the throats of our young men and women in training in high schools and middle schools throughout the United States, that's a bit odd. You are an educator. You have a curriculum. You shouldn't sway from your curriculum. Teach the subject in which you are hired to teach. That is all. When you have the tinfoil people talking that this will be activated when they turn 5G to its highest level, and we will all become mindless zombies who have no care or no spirituality or no focus on religion, and we just are mindful little robots, you are causing the same division that the teachers are. You just don't want to see it. This is going to rip this country apart. As goes America, goes the world. You better believe it. And this will most certainly rip this country apart. I hope you know that. I hope you know that when you go off the deep end on either side, you are both culpable. I've heard it on both sides equally. You are adding fuel to a destructive fire. One that is burning inferno style underneath the surface of this country. You can see it when you go outside. You can feel it when you're in public. When you have a family get-together. You know that there are political lines that have been drawn in families and businesses and corporations throughout the United States. You know where people side, and if you don't side on that side, that fire is burning in between you, And at some point, mark my words, it will consume the surface. I've seen it in my dreams. That's for another podcast, another time. Just like I saw Joe Biden and Kamala Harris president before they were even nominated as the running pair in the election. But again, that's for another podcast. But this is just one subject. There are so many subjects. Climate change. You have two kinds of people. Well, I should say three. You have those that are for climate change being a real thing. They have data to prove it. They are very concerned because our consumption has only increased over time, and we are basically at critical mass. Then you have those that say, no, it's not real. They continue to gas up. They continue to throw plastics away. They continue to do all that because they think it's a sham. It's a money ploy because remember, and let's jump right back to the COVID SARS-2, sorry. Everything is about power and money. This experiment is colossal on the money scale. Trillions of dollars are just being tossed around, gobbled up somewhere, put away safe. But back to climate change. Those people on the other side that don't believe think it's all about money. And then you have the people in the middle that just don't give a shit. We just don't care. Who cares? I'm only here for 75 years on average. Who cares? But there's been a shit ton of information put out there that is incorrect on both sides. I don't need to pull to the surface some of the dopey ass shit that has happened over the years. Just trust and believe that information is out there. A simple Google search will find it. I know some of you are anti-Google and use DuckDuckGo. Either way, you will find it out there. Some people have taken it to the extreme. Others think it is a joke. Here's what I do know. The facts are the facts. Science is science. Science is out there. You cannot continuously take from something and not put back and expect it to sustain. That is with anything. Now, some people believe the earth is so big that we could take, then there's no way that 7+ billion people could make such a sizable difference that, it would cause a catastrophic change in our climate. I know last week it was 70 degrees. 70 degrees. Go listen to the other podcast. The end of December, I was saying, oh my God, it is so warm. You could go swimming. It is 19 degrees today. Actually, I think now it's 12. Yeah, 12 degrees right now. 12 degrees. Snowy, cold. It feels like hell has frozen over in the great state of Ohio. That's in a few days' time. You think that's normal? I mean, in the fall, in the spring, sure. In the dead of winter, no. No, it's not. And again, I'm sorry. I know that's disgusting. I apologize. So it's the same with climate change. People have drawn their beliefs or their affiliation through political lines. And you know where Your family sets. You know where your company, your friends set. You know where your corporation's set. And there's a fire in the middle that is raging underneath the surface. And at some point, that fire will consume the surface. And it will be chaos. I hope it's not when it's too late. I hope we haven't caused irreparable damage and we all suffer. But I got to tell you, I'm one that believes in facts. And the facts are there. Unbiased facts. You would just have to look for them. Now, before I continue with the examples, I was talking the other day about racism and how it is taught. It is not genetic. It is freaking taught. You teach your kids to be racist or accept all kinds. It is taught. Have you ever seen a little white kid and a little black kid play together? They do not focus on the exterior. They are just having fun with one another. It's because they're so young, so pure, not tainted, that they don't see that kind of stuff. It is taught to pick out the differences. Your political affiliation is most likely taught to you by your parents. My parents were both conservative. I grew up being a conservative, and as I've gotten older, I've become a little independent on my beliefs because I refuse to take either side 100%. Because they're just not 100% with you and I. The economy. That is another hot button topic for misinformation. You have the people in the go, go, go camp that really believe this economy will weather any storm. That we have reached an age of unequivocal growth, and that sure, there'll be a little recession here and there, very small, couple months, but that we will continue on because there's so much money out there. They have created this surplus of money. Like there really is a lot of money out there. When you see 20-year-old kids driving brand new Maseratis, and you asked, did mommy and daddy buy that? And they say, no, I purchased it myself. I'm in crypto. I mine NFTs. I'm a YouTuber. I have a podcast. I'm a gamer. I'm on Twitch. Then you know there's a surplus of freaking money out there. So they believe that this economy will weather any storm, that the days of depression and recession are in the past. Continuous growth. And then there are those that think it's a doomsday. Oh no, it's a doomsday. With the chicken strips. Oh. I watch too much TikTok. No, but serious. And then you have the people in between that just don't give a shit. They're never going to have the money to invest. And that's the reality. There's the reality of it. Since I'm shooting you straight, majority of us do not have the money to piss away in the market. You have 401ks. You do not manage them unless it's self-directed, which I highly doubt. Unless you're informed. Because, again, information is power. Majority of us just go throughout our days because we don't have the time nor the money to invest. But the lines are drawn by political affiliation. You know where your friends and family set on the economy. You know where your company or business sets. You know where the corporations set. They are drawn by political lines. And underneath the surface and between them is a fire that is raging. And I promise you that fire will engulf the surface at some point. I keep using that metaphor because you need to understand. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what you talk about. People are ugly right now. The human condition has suffered such a setback in the last 20 years. Leadership has been all but present. Going back 20 years. I mean, you got Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama. Like what? There hasn't been a changing of the guard in a very long time. You've been getting a dose of the same old same, and you don't even realize it. You do not realize that they all work for the same people. And those people are pulling the strings, and you are getting a dose of shut the F up year after year after year after year, term after term after term after term. And folks, we truly are standing at the precipice. We are about to lose what we have coveted for so long. What we have taken for granted for the last 70 years. And the reason I say that is because people do not realize the sacrifice and the suffering for those men and women in uniform. They have no clue. They fight and they die for these freedoms, for me to sit here and give you my perspective, for you to be listening to my perspective, whether you like it or not. It is on the cliff. And anything can throw us over. I'm telling you, any one of these topics that I'm bringing up can be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And it's true. It is very true. I just don't understand where it first started. You know, if I could go back to the origin and analyze it and put all my time and effort and have the team put their time and effort, then we could pinpoint the culprit. There are a lot of opinions out there, but again, it's all about misinformation, and nobody knows the 100% truth of the origin, where this started. Here's what I do know. The human condition thrives when there is suffering. That's what I do know. You don't believe me? Take 9/11, for example. New York always had a reputation for being a real hard as nails, tough ass city to be in. I'm thinking Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2, when the city was all down on itself and all the anger was energizing these spirits. You remember. And the way they defeated them was they squirted this ectoplasm all over the Statue of Liberty, and they came marching for the State Puft Marshmallow Man. You remember. And everybody came together when the city was in chaos. We saw a real-life version with the attack on 9/11. That city came together and kicked ass at the leadership of Rudy Giuliani. That city came together and showed the world that even bruised and battered, we are still New Yorkers and we will still kick your ass. And we can come together in a crisis and we can make everything better. Now, do you see? You got to have suffering in the human condition for it to thrive. I know it's like crazy when you break it down that way. You go, damn, you're right. But it's true. Now, I'm a big fan of the Matrix movies, and I'm not by any means saying we live in a matrix, so please do not go there. But I love the lessons that are taught in this movie. I do. I think that you could learn a lot just from the brothers, I can't say their name, Wazowski or however you say it. The way they interpret the world is pretty damn on point. And in the first movie, when Smith is trying to explain the Matrix and this version that they were in, and how they made a world where everything was just sunshine and rainbows, and it was rejected by the human condition, and entire crops were lost. You remember, right? If you haven't seen the 4 movies, I suggest you go watch them, because there are lessons to be learned about the human condition. Everybody should know what that is. Everybody should know what that is. It's a very important part of analyzing the world. But he's absolutely right in what he says. And it's simply this. There has to be suffering for the human condition to thrive. I don't know if it's because we're resilient and we need to display that resilience or act on that resilience. I'm not really sure what it is. I don't know if it's back in the day we were being chased by all these crazy prehistoric monsters, and we just developed that sense of, working well in stress and chaos. I don't know if it's been passed down. I don't know what it is. Because if I knew what it was, I'd have the answers to everything. But I do know that the human condition thrives when shit is at its worst. That should tell you something. Maybe it's a cycle. Maybe in order for the good, there must be bad. In order for light, there must be dark. I mean, it makes you wonder, truly, I have a hard time with this truth. I've uncovered things in the past 2 years that have made me rethink the way I see the world. Now, I was content with my life before. I was content with being a father, a coach, a neighbor. I was content with that. But it really took just one event for me to start questioning things. And you know what that was. I've said it on here before. It made me start to look at things different because I'm trying to wonder why the hell you would go to those lengths over this. It's a lot to take. To give you another example, and this is a huge example, QAnon. Now, I have my personal belief, and I do not mind sharing that with you. But QAnon has been wrapped in misinformation on both sides. It has been a focal point. It has been a label, even given to yours truly, for people that see this like I do. For people that see that there is something more going on beneath the surface than just what you see. Now, it could be a number of different things that are going on. But my personal belief is that everyone sees an opportunity right now to mold a piece of the world the way they see fit. And it collectively comes at a colossal cost, and that is your freedom. Believe it. Now, we have small victories. We do. This Supreme Court decision on the mandate, that's going to be a small victory for us. Do you think they'll stop pushing it? No. Do you think that they'll give up using other means like employers and organizations and companies? And do you think they'll give up? No, I don't think so. It's just a hiccup in the road for them. But everyone is trying to take a piece of this. Everyone is trying to mold this where they see fit. Someone once said, and I quote, "You never let a good crisis go to waste." And I'm not saying where that came from. It really doesn't matter. Until you start to see this for what it is, that the global elite, and this is where I start to sound conspiracy theorist, and I get that Q label, that the global elite, they run the show. They do. Corporation runs the show. Big business runs the show. Big pharma runs the show. Big oil runs the show. Money, folks, money and control run the show. They've put so much time, money, and effort into analyzing this, into making it a science. QAnon. You know, I've heard all these explanations, all of them, where this came from. It's all about the origin for me, because you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And the creation, the inception of something is a very crucial part in where you've been. after doing months, and I tell you, I am not exaggerating one bit, months of research trying to figure out, where did this start? I have come up with a theory. So I'm going to say that this is a theory. This is my belief. And it truly is my belief. There is a alphabet organization out there that has done extensive work, neurological, with the mind, extensive work into your conscious, extensive work into paranormal even, and extrasensory, and just all kinds of crazy stuff that you wouldn't think that they would be focused on. What if, and just hear me out, what if they knew the reaction ahead of time? What if there is a such thing as predictive programming? Because the facts are out there. Go look it up for yourself. What if, and just what if, they had a little help? And what if they truly are the origin of this movement? Now, it has since taken on a different form, a different direction even. But I think they knew that. What if, and just what if, you're not working for the good guys? What if, and just what if, you are a Trojan horse? Now, I'm going to tell you this right now, and everyone around me knows this. I'm ready to stand and fight for Old Glory. I'm ready to stand and fight for this country. And I'm a badass MFer. You better believe it. I'm ready to stand and fight for freedom. At the drop of a dime, I am ready to stand and fight. But what if you are working as a Trojan horse and you don't even know it? I know the head games. They call these guys spooks, boogeymen, because they could literally sneak up on you when your back is to a wall. Like, these are the best of the best. And it's not just their skills physically. They do so much mental work. They do so much mental programming. They do so much outside the realm of possible. They've looked so deeply into the impossible. There's a lot that goes on that you guys have no clue. I was passed a few documents one time by a stranger who said, if anybody ever sees these, you're dead. And I kind of looked like, what the hell you mean I'm dead? He said, no, I'm not threatening you. If anybody ever knows that you've seen this, you're dead. And I read the documents, and I was just sick to my stomach. Sick. I'm not sure what I believed or how I felt at the time. And then I went through a few weeks of trying to come to grips with the fact that they're fake. They have to be. There's no way that is legitimate. And then I find out 10 years later. Now, you guys all know that I've worked in IT for many years. And I won't say where and I won't say when because it's really irrelevant. But I had an analyst come across something that he shouldn't have came across as I worked for a drug company. And I won't say their name either. Anybody that knows me knows exactly what I'm talking about and when. And he printed out these documents. Now, this is 20 years ago. But he showed me, and I really couldn't believe it. I said, dude, this is like fake. He was so spooked, okay? Now, he was an analyst. I was just in support. I was a level 3 technical support specialist. And he was an analyst. Like, he made the big cheddar. Do you understand? He quit his job the next day. Quit. Now, we had hung out and played basketball and done all this stuff before. So after a week of not returning my phone calls, I went to his house. He was moved out. And that creeped me out so bad because I've never experienced that in my life. I have since then on some weird, really weird situations, but they're not pertaining to this. And maybe we'll have just an off-the-wall show one day. But to come and find out 10, 15 years later that this shit is real? This is real? These people do this? Then they are capable of doing anything. As I watched yesterday this whole special unfold, I was wondering with my objective mind, how much of this is being blown up and how much of it is actually the facts. Because that's what these people do. They blow stuff up to skew the facts in spite of the facts. And people take it as the truth. And they develop an opinion based off of the political way that they have been taught over the years and the side that they've decided to side on because of how they're taught. It makes them angry. It makes them bitter. It's meant to trigger the audience to believe something more. And by the end of the night, you have two groups of people on either side of the political lines that are pissed off at the other. Look at this for what it is and not what they want you to think it is. Please, before it's too late, look at it for what it is. We are both being played. We are both suffering. And what is at stake? One day soon, you, me, all of us, no matter what side you're on, will look back at this time and say, I think that is the origin. That is the beginning of the end. If you're lucky enough to be able to converse in public. I want you to do me a favor. If you haven't already, and I want you to go read 1984. Now, it's a fiction. It's not real, people. It's just a book. It's just a book. But try to equate some of the things with things from today. I'm going to reach across the aisle. I am a conservative. I'm more of an independent, but with conservative values. I'm reaching across the aisle. If you're a liberal, if you're a Democrat, whatever you want to identify, if you identify on the left, I want you to get a hold of me. I want to have just a conversation with you, not a debate, not an argument. I just want to converse with you. I want us to find common ground because I'm not here to draw those lines. I'm not here to create division. I'm here to bring all of us together, to wipe the shit out of your eyes so that we can start to see the world for what it really is. We lost someone today. I don't think you guys understand the significance of who we lost today. So I just kind of want to put it in a little perspective. I don't know which movies he was in, but Sidney Poitier died. But I know that he broke the color lines in Hollywood, and I know that is, no matter how you feel about Hollywood, people, because I should have made that one of these topics because, boy, there's so much out there on both. But he was the first black movie star for all intents and purposes. And he died today. We really got to get to a point where we're not divided by this stuff anymore. There's a real evil out there. I mean, truly, a real evil out there. It doesn't want America free. It doesn't want the people free. It really doesn't. Because a free society has the will to do whatever it would like. And as we've grown in intelligence and grown in technology, we've lost that will. That is by design. I don't know what you need to see to understand that is by design. Stand up. Please stand up before it is too damn late, people. They're coming for that freedom. And they're coming now.
So enigmatic and charismatic, gotta live static, gotta get at it, never pragmatic, cause we live tragic. I can't live average, to be alive's magic. Turn it up in the back cause I'm grabbing everything I want, get in my way and I'm stabbing. I'll be moving crowds till I'm 6 feet napping. They need another fix, hooked on like an addict. I got my eyes on the prize and it's changing lives. I wanna live till I die, make a difference, right? I wanna give those in need a reason to fight. I wanna live every day like it's my last night. I wanna change how we play the game, rearrange all the pieces till they say my name, push an agenda against doing what they say. I wanna stand up and start a revolution. I wanna start a revolution. I wanna start a revolution.